terms of your experience in the university, how you have mentioned that when you have told the class your views, you got criticized and people said, well, we actually support you, but we didn't really want to speak about that ourselves. I think that's a very important issue nowadays in the society, that people feel like they're being silenced and their opinions are not being listened to anyway. So why even express them? Do you think that has to do with education problems, or is just the system that has been old and needs to be changed?
I think it's a few things. I mean, well, firstly, I did have a difficult time at university from time to time. I had two different investigations launched into me by the university about things that I said.
What's that for?
Well, I was accused of bullying somebody because apparently I mentioned his dad's name. I mean, I didn't know that naming people was bullying. I knew apparently naming people's gender can sometimes be considered bullying, but I didn't know that naming them was. And apparently I talked about. I said that I thought the prime minister was obviously not this prime minister. Previous prime minister was right about Israel Palestine. That was very dodgy. I got kicked out of the radio society for that.
You are supporting Israel.
I think that both Israel and Palestine have done things during this conflict that is wrong. But my fundamental premise starts from the fact that this latest outbreak of fighting started when 1,200 Israelis were brutally raped and beheaded and murdered, completely unprovocated by Hamas on October 7th. Do I, for example, support the Rafah bombing in the refugee camp that Israel did in response? No, I don't. I think Israel has gone too far, and I think they've actually lost some of their public support. But do I broadly support Israel's right to self-defense? Of course I do. And do I think it's appalling the anti-Semitism the Jewish people have faced? It absolutely shocking. I saw a stat the other day that in the last year, 54% of anti-religious hate crimes in New York City have been against Jews. Jews make up nowhere near 54% of the city. That is an astonishing statistic. Why is nobody else reading that statistic? Because mainstream media don't run it. Because mainstream media are not interested in the plight of Jews. Because they're seen as dangerous. Because they're seen as supporting Israel, who support the US, and of course can't support the US, can you? I think it's shocking the way the Jewish people are treated. But going back to my point about university, I suffered a lot of investigations and people criticizing me for my views, but I always stood up for it because I believe there'd always be somebody else in the class that thought that. But maybe they didn't have the profile I had. Maybe they didn't have the confidence I had. And that's not an arrogant point. That's just saying I wanted to be able to help people who maybe didn't want to voice their views. And I don't blame anyone on the right or on the common sense side of the issue. Because left and right doesn't really mean anything today. It's about whether you believe in a global world where we're all the same. We must all treat each other equally, and everybody must be allowed what we have, even if they haven't worked for it, even if they don't live in this country. Or you believe in a nation state. You believe in patriotism and pride in your country, and you believe in common sense ideals, views that we've held for years and we really don't need to change. And that's the debate in politics today, and I'm on the common sense side. And I applaud other people that are on the common sense side to join me as we fight back to change this country for the better. But I know there are people that support me because the campaign team that come out and helped me in Holland and Sidmouth are largely young students who worked with me at university or worked with me in political campaigns in the local area. They're passionate. They put their own time. They're not paid for it to come and help me on my political career. And I can't thank them enough because I've always believed in teams. You can't do anything on your own. Anyone that thinks they could be a leader on their own is a joke to me. You need a team of people there to help you. And the best people, the best politicians, have a group of people that are willing to go to hell and back to help their guy.
Yeah, I certainly feel just similar in terms of the university I go to. Even though my university allows for a free speech to flow, I know a lot of universities in London don't allow for that to happen. And in case you mention Israel-Palestine question in some kind of color that they don't want to see, or if you mention gender, race, just sexuality, then they instantly get very furious about it, and they use the power to silence you, and they make people afraid of saying what they have to say. Do you think cancel culture in that regard has gone too far in our society?
Of course it's gone too far. Look, there are some things that people say that are dangerous. If I walked into a building tomorrow and said I'm going to blow everybody up, that's a dangerous thing to say. I would never say that, by the way, before people get the wrong idea of that. But anyone that's been enjoying me up to this point goes, whoa, he's out there. I wouldn't say that. But anybody that does that, where they say something that would incite violence, that's a dangerous thing. But that word incite, like that word Hitler or that word racism, or that word with transphobic, all these words that used to mean something, nobody knows what they mean today. Why is that? Because they're misused, they're over appropriating. I remember when I ran to be debating society president in my second year at university, and I ran on a very simple common sense agenda. I said, I want to allow more free speech. I want to vote more external speakers with controversial views. We can challenge our own thoughts. And I want the members of our society to have more ability to scrutinise the decisions our committee takes. And somebody started a campaign called Stop the Fascist to stop me winning that election. Well, I implore people to tell me, what is fascist about?
Because apparently you're allowing everybody to speak their mindset.
And that's actually that it's. I mean, lo and behold, I thought the ones that cancelled speech were the fascists. I thought the famous fascists of the past that I can remember were the ones that used to burn books or cancel books, not allow people to read, who used to silence and suppress speech, not give people the right to say their view, who used to block people that had different opinions, not invite them onto their campus. It's ironic how the word fascism is used today, and it's far more totalitarian, the people that are cancelling speech than the people that are allowing it. But you asked a good question a moment ago. It's about why are these universities left with them? I don't feel I've answered it yet. I think it's a I will get to it now. I think it's a double-edged sword. I honestly do. I feel that it's both the educational establishment and the student population. We'll take them in turn. Educational establishment is perhaps the more obvious one. They're part of left-wing unions who helped them go on a strike as much as they were. I remember in my second year, I think it was, where there was honestly a term, I think it was the Easter term, where the lecturers were more on strike than off strike. And they're supposedly on strike because they want more pay. Well, maybe if you turned up a few more times and taught my lectures, I'd be more likely to believe that you should have more pay. That's a separate point, but that does wind me up. Look, I'm sympathetic to anyone that feels that they work hard and they should have more money. But if you're asking me, am I going to pay university lecturers who got to sit at home for the entirety of COVID or NHS frontline workers more? It's NHS frontline workers every single day because they put themselves in harm's way. The only thing the lecturers were in harm's way of was a book falling on them, I guess. So I'm sympathetic, but I don't think they're my first priority by any means. Going back to the point, though, that unionization and then that culture, right? You're a lecturer, you want more money. Or you're a lecturer, you want a promotion, you want to be a bigger part. You're not going to put your head out on the line. You're not going to say, I believe in free speech and I'm a Tory. And lo and behold, I think immigration should be lowered, not higher. Or any of the other dangerous things. I think there's two genders. Oh, no, God, you're not going to say anything like that, are you? You're not going to put your head above the precipice. It's your job on the line. At least with students, it's hard. They're not fighting for a job. But then there's the student population. I think what we're seeing in today's world, where the economy is struggling so much, is honestly, working class students are finding it hard to get to university, even though there are loads of places at university. And when they are going, they're going and they're ending up doing rubbish degrees that actually saddle them in debt. So universities are becoming a place where the people that actually go there and at least have enough money to socialise and get involved in the aspects of the university life are predominantly middle class. And as a result, what we've seen is a change in politics in the last 30 years. 30 years ago, if you were young and middle class, you probably leant right. Today, you're right off to the left because the topics you talk about are not the economy, where yes, probably do believe in lowering inflation so you can buy more goods. They're social politics. You believe that women aren't paid enough. You believe that there's somehow an epidemic of trying to take away abortion rights in this country, which is just not an issue in this country. I mean, it is an issue in the US, but it's not an issue here. You believe that there are 600 genders, and you believe that there's massive discrimination in society, and that discrimination is based on your look. In other words, that because I'm white, I might be racist. Not that there aren't racist people out there, but inherently I'm racist. Critical race theory, for example, that's taught at university. You have all these social views that push you to the left. And I just think that's creating culture where right-wing people have absolutely no chance to speak their mind.
Yeah. I feel bad for having to stop the discussion here, but it has been absolutely amazing. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.